Hello guys, Damadoc82 here, and I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on the work that we've been doing for Dominion of Dama. I am currently joined here in voice chat on the Guild of Calamitous Intent Discord with Heitzmeister, Lokari, and I am Mark III. Feel free to say hello there, gentlemen. Mod Deuce, he may be joining us here at a later time. I'm not quite sure what's going on with him, but yeah, he's probably just going to pop in here randomly somewhere during the video. Completely fine. Just want to let you guys know before we got any further. Alright, so let's...
Oh, that's silence.
What?
That's silence.
What about it?
Yes. Silence.
Oh.
Like, are we meant to say hello now, or...?
You can say hello if you want. That's completely fine. I didn't want to push you into it, so...
I was slightly confused because you continued on to talk about Mardus and how he might turn up.
Yeah.
But yes, hello everyone. We are here to watch Dama's recording and point and laugh as soon as his back is turned.
There we go. Okay. Heitzmeister...
Yes, hello.
Okay. Lokari, anything you want to add to that?
Not really anything.
Okay, fair enough. Alright, so these are going to be units that are for the faction that's loosely based off of the Austria-Hungary Empire. They are going to be a relatively early faction unit, or not unit, but faction to be fighting in the Dominion of Dama campaign. So I just want to go ahead and start off with this submarine that I got here. It's a Mastodon Class submarine, and it's loosely based off of one of the U-boats from World War I. Apparently, Germany was selling those to Austria-Hungary from what I've seen in my research. So, yeah, this is what I ended up going with, and that's how I got the unique-looking hull for this. I actually had a bit of a time trying to build this thing. I set it up with an aircraft AI so that it would be constantly going towards and away from its target, so that way it can fire its torpedoes from the bow and the stern. Nothing really too crazy about these. They're just meant to run on the surface and hit whatever's up there. I had to do a little bit of finagling with all kinds of control surfaces to make sure that this thing kept a certain depth, which it's kind of important for this thing because the sensor here is actually on the periscope, and the periscope activates when there's enemies present, and it's controlled by a local weapons controller, so that way it stays pointed at whatever this is targeting. Has some hidden roll thrusters here, just covered over with some decorations. This is actually kind of a rare treat because this is one of the few units that I have made so far for this campaign that's going to be using a fuel engine. Aside from the aircraft, of course. Yeah, it's got...
all other units using steam engines?
The ships, yes.
Oh.
And we got a torpedo launcher here in the rear of it. It's actually kind of cool watching this thing at work because it just kind of does like big circles, so it can keep firing the forward torpedoes in the rear one here. I put a lot of work into this to try to make it function as close to the real thing as possible, especially adding the periscope here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to carry that over to other submarine designs in this campaign.
Is there any backup detection systems if the periscope does get hits?
Yes.
Or does it have an inter-vehicle
I mean, you don't really need a whole lot of backup for this since it's using torpedoes, but I did give it a wireless snooper, and I think it should be able to get by with that.
Next question.
Yes.
Are the torpedoes dumbfire or guided?
They're actually guided. I was having problems with trying to get dumbfire torpedoes to work from torpedo bombers without the guidance, and I just could not make it work. So, yeah. But for the early faction, I set them to be fairly slow. and mostly high explosive. So if you got an armored hull, they're probably not going to do a whole hell of a lot. Oh, something else I forgot to mention. I got the forward bits here on spin blocks. If I can just, there we go. Of course, it doesn't want to cooperate with me on camera, but anyway. There's like little doors that open up on the side for the torpedo tubes. And those are supposed to activate whenever there's enemies present. I thought it was kind of a cool little feature there. Anyway, moving on.
I thought I didn't see torpedoes when I first saw the hull.
Yeah, there's like there are doors on the front that actually open and close. So that's why you're not seeing the torpedo tubes immediately.
Yeah, you're right. That is cool.
And this little darling here, another hallmark of a Dama plane, doing a triplane or a biplane. It's the Black Widow fighter. Just so you guys can have a quick look at its stats. Not really a whole lot to it. I'm not 100% sold on whether or not I want to keep these 30mm autocannons because they just kind of seem out of place. I might just replace a few of them with the 60s and call her good. It's also got a I don't know if I would want to call this a tail gun, but I will for lack of a better term. But yeah, it seems to handle the Deepwater Guard aircraft that I've been putting up against pretty well. Been very, very happy with it so far. I should mention that Modus is going to be going back through a lot of these aircraft and adding some pyrotechnics to them. Basically have some smoke generators that turn on whenever the aircraft reach like a certain health threshold. So that's the triplane. And over here we have a torpedo boat. Not really a whole lot to it. I didn't want to make it too powerful because just the speed alone could make this thing very, very dangerous. And there's the very, very tiny steam engine that I made for this thing. It doesn't really have too much as far as armaments go, aside from the torpedoes, like this 3.7-inch gun. That's pretty much like the only gun that this thing really has, but it's really supposed to be doing most of its damage with these torpedo launchers. It's fairly quick. I think that's wrong. I think it's supposed to be going about 25 meters a second. But this could pose some problems for some larger ships later down the road, I'm thinking. I also should mention that some of these aren't completely fully decorated just yet, but as far as functionality goes, these should all be working.
Is it set to circle before it gets in torpedo range? I'm just wondering because if it's charging towards the enemy when the torpedoes launch, that might cause a few problems.
They're all on turrets, Ion.
No, I mean like if it's closing straight before it starts trying to circle.
What do you mean?
If they fire straight forward, they're going to hit the ship. Is what I'm asking. Does it start circling before it gets into launch range?
Should. I guess I'm not understanding what you're asking me here.
I just want to make sure your boat doesn't decide to go boom before the enemy gets to fight it.
From what I have done with it in tests, I never had that problem crop up, to be honest.
Okay, doke. Then my curiosity is satisfied. I'm sorry for confusing you for a moment.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I probably just got up maybe like a little less than 2 hours ago, so it might still be a little foggy. Anyway,
I didn't word it very well either.
that's okay. We're all good. Anyway, this is a destroyer that I've made for this faction here. Hagar class destroyer, named after Sammy Hagar. She is equipped with, I believe these are 4-inch guns? Yes. Have a pretty decent rate of fire on them. I was trying to make them look like they had a little bit going on back here with some controls for the gun, a breech, and a little armored area that the operator could look through to aim the gun. We got basically the same torpedo launchers as on the torpedo boat over there. Got some very, very light AA coming from this 20mm here. And another one of the 4-inch guns here on the front. Sorry for the stuttering, guys. I just... Anyway. This one is also... got a steam engine in it. I didn't really have a whole hell of a lot of room for this, and I do realize if this thing takes a hit, it will probably completely destroy the steam engine. But this faction isn't going to be known for durability, so I'm completely fine with that. This thing should be getting about maybe 24 meters a second, but yeah, it's not showing that here in the V menu, unfortunately. Any questions over this one, guys?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Not really.
Well, let's move on to the light cruiser. It hasn't picked up a name just yet, but it is using slightly larger cannons than the destroyer over here. These are actually 6-inch cannons. They got a little bit slower fire rate, but there is more of them. Plus, there are twin torpedo launchers on either side. And let's have a quick look at the guts of the thing here for a moment. This is also powered by steam. And these are actually firing a somewhat hefty shell here because they're using the 2-meter auto loaders. If I could find the shell here, yeah, this is the type of shell that it's using for those guns. Just it's not meant to do much more than just be scary, and that's pretty much it. Just a heavy head with a bunch of HE bodies. Some light AA with the 20mm there. We got another one here on the very front and on the back. So, moving on, unless anyone has any questions about the light cruiser.
Not really.
No.
Okay. Yeah, just feel free to chime in if you guys got any questions about these.
Like we're doing with the bows of these.
Thank you. This right here is a heavy cruiser. I believe the guns are... yeah, they're almost like 8-inch. I just kind of rounded them down to 200 mil, but yeah, that shouldn't be too big a deal.
7-inch is 203.
Yeah. I get lazy sometimes. It's using 2-meter auto loaders here, so it could probably do a bit of damage. It's got a bunch of the 130 mil casemates on it. I've actually been using tons and tons of these things, designing ships for this campaign. Got pretty much the same gun here on the back. Another thing I wanted to note about trying to do ships from this area, it's kind of different than what I'm used to doing with the guns, because it seems like the guns that are on the bow of the ship, they always need to be just a little bit higher than the ones on the back. I guess they need the extra elevation to try to keep them dry. Would I be correct in assuming that?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
I also noticed that on this hull you've actually increased the size of the steam engine.
Yeah, it kind of needs it.
Yeah, you
From
went to the
small
medium size one.
squadrons to mediums. Yeah.
It's got a little bit of armoring for the turrets here. I think I just went and put like a wooden barbette around it. Shouldn't really do a whole hell of a lot though. Was
Is
it?
a double expansion steam engine?
You tell me.
That would be a triple, actually.
Okay.
Oh, triple even. Very economic.
And we got a bunch of anti-aircraft unit or weapons here in the form of the 20 millimeters. I got some more detection here in the superstructure.
I just need to ask a question.
Yes.
Why are some of the secondary guns and AA guns glowing yellow when there's nothing wrong with them?
It's got to be a bug. I can't seem to figure out what the hell is wrong with them. Because if you look at them, I mean they should have everything hooked up and ready to go. The shell type has been selected and all that good stuff. So
They got their AI, so
mm-hmm. But unless there's any other questions, we'll move on to the Pre-Dreadnought Battleship. Okay.
Go for it.
And over here we have the Mastodon Class Pre-Dreadnought Battleship. Modus has already done a bit of decorating for this one. Done a pretty good job. This guy, I believe it's using just a little shy of 12-inch guns. I believe the 12-inch is what, 305, Yurirogaria?
yeah, I think so.
And I believe it's using 3-meter loaders. Yes, that seems to be the case with these. You have to pardon me, folks. It's been a while since I've worked on this thing. I'm trying to do a lot of this from memory. The Austria-Hungary faction was actually the first one that I was doing these designs on. Sorry, I just cannot talk today for some damn reason or another. Modus went and added some searchlights on the 2-axis turrets, it looks like, to make them follow targets. That's cool. We've got some 20 millimeter cannons like all over the place. We got the 3.7 inch cannons here. I believe they're using timed flex fuses or timed flex shells. Yeah.
Oh, so that's AAA.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about the gun and not the insurance, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Then the AAA stands for anti-aircraft artillery.
Yes. Sorry, I had to make that joke. Anyway, I believe the mains are using this shell here. And oh, I forgot to tell you guys about these side-mounted turrets. There's not really a whole lot to them because I didn't have a whole lot of space to work with. But yeah, those are actual 8-inch guns right there. What else? I believe these smaller explosive shells, they're being used by the casemate guns. And we also got some side-mounted torpedo launchers here. These are pretty much almost the same exact torpedo that I had in the submarine that we first looked over. So that is the Mammoth class Pre-Dreadnought Battleship. Is there anything else that you guys would like to have a look on this before I move on? Or have questions?
Yeah, the torpedoes actually. Do they have the ballast tank?
Not for this faction, but factions down the line will.
Okay, so no ballast tanks on the torpedoes. Oh, I see.
Yeah, for this
So
faction,
these
no.
are just simple surface running torpedoes.
You got it.
Alright.
Though I do believe the destroyer here, I have those set up with ballast tanks. Yes, I do. Because, you know, destroyers are often what are most heavily used to do combat with submarines with, so I figured it was fitting. But yeah, I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but I completely spaced on that. Any other questions, Highlighter?
Nope, not for now.
Okay. And over here, I have this wooden bomber here. It still needs a lick of paint, but like I said, completely functional. And just so we can have a quick look, you see here on the inside, I might have to do something with these wheels here because I don't want those huge shock absorbers showing up on there, but it should be an easy fix. Anyway, not really a whole hell of a lot to this one. It does drop up a crap load of these fragmentation bombs here, but they're just magnets, so yeah. It'll do okay against very, very slow things. Like, I've had it to get a couple of hits on the crossbones, and it just kind of slowly whittled it down when I was doing my testing with it. Also, I have the bomb bay down here. Those are rigged with decorations on spin blocks here. Those
So they
will
open and close when
Yep.
enemies are present.
Yep,
Oh.
you got it.
You know, this plane kind of
Nice.
reminds me of my first bomber I made.
Really?
Yeah, and it's also it was using APN guidance, so the speed of them dropping down
Mhm.
kind of helped in a situation where I forgot to include the friend or foe block.
Mm. Yeah, that
So
sounds
the
like a
bombs will
pain.
fall down and immediately come back up. Defying gravity.
I also got like a little position up here for a forward gunner in this. And there is a few tricks that I found out with mimics trying to build this, because one of the problems that you have doing aircraft is you rarely have enough room to put everything that you absolutely want in it. So this, on some designs, I've been like taking the mimics and putting them in there, and then I'll change them up to chairs and vehicle controllers. So in that way it still has a bit better armoring. But fully functional, and been pretty happy with it. Like I said, just needs a lick of paint, and she should be ready to rock. Any other questions on this, guys?
Nope.
Not
Okay.
really.
So I got basically a air-to-surface attack plane here. This thing is actually pretty scary. I say that because, well, these thumperhead missiles, they're unguided, of course, but they will bore a hole through armor pretty quick, and they move very, very quickly. So they have a pretty good chance to hit most of their targets. But I only have them rigged up to where it will only fire these at surface vessels, because this thing has just not had any luck trying to hit any flying units whatsoever. And it's got a couple of the 60 mil autocannons here firing through the front of the aircraft. I need to start moving Brambot into the other vehicles as I'm doing this. Anyway, had a lot of fun building and testing this thing. I honestly think it would do very good in Quest for Neater in the early campaign. Oh, I seem to have a... Nope, that's fine. For a second there, I thought these pipes here weren't exhausting correctly, but then I realized I just put them up there for looks. Okay, you guys have any questions or anything you want to ask about this before I move on?
I've got one actually.
Oh, go for it.
I'm just wondering, why are the missiles mounted on the upper wing rather than the lower wing? Is that something that they used to do?
I put them there to try to give them just a little bit more protection from anti-aircraft weapons. That's pretty much it, just to give them a little bit more survivability. That was the only reason.
I believe they mounted them on the lower wing on biplanes to lower the center of gravity and increase stability of these early planes. They were
Also
difficult enough to fly anyway.
Yeah, and also because, like, well, they were a newish kind of weapon as well, so they'd want to give it clearance to fall away from the craft if needed, rather than into the wing.
Okay.
Doesn't exactly apply in this case, but that's why I was asking about their mount position.
No, that makes sense. That was like the only reason why I did them that way, just so that they would have just a little bit of protection from getting shot off by anti-air weapons. That was the main reason for doing it that way.
Yeah, okay.
Anywho, over here we got a little gyrocopter that I made for this campaign. So far, the Yurirogaria, or aka the Austria-Hungary Empire, is going to be the only one that has this thing. And it's just got these little bitty short-range frag thumper heads. It's going to kind of work a little bit like a helicopter. Just kind of keep pointed at the target and firing these unguided rockets at it. I think that's how I had it set up.
I don't know if this will cheapen it, but I wish to share my initial reaction upon seeing that.
Okay, what do you got?
My initial reaction was, oh, ain't that a little cutie?
Yes. It's not meant to deliver overwhelming firepower, but I think it was a pretty fun design when I was working on it. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to add it at first, but
I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
yeah. And it's also dirt cheap. I mean, 4K materials? Come on. But if you were to use this like in Quest for Neater, you could always put like some radar guides on these and use them in a very similar fashion and probably do fairly well for something so cheap. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add about this guy before I move on?
Nope.
Okay.
Please continue.
Alright, so over here we have a Torpedo Bomber. Very, very simple. Not really a whole lot to it. There is a bit of an issue with the autocannons and the torpedo launcher being on the same local weapon controller, but it doesn't need to be perfect. But yeah, it will try to launch torpedoes at other planes sometimes. It's just there wasn't really a whole lot of room to work with on that. Actually, I'm seeing a way I might be able to do it differently. I might go back and fix that now that I'm thinking about it. Because if I take like one of those local weapon controllers, the all-in-ones, and put one like here and over here, give it a high priority, I could probably fix that without too much of a change in cost. Anywho, just food for thought. Any questions on this, guys? Now don't y'all come running to me at once with questions.
Yes, I have one.
Yes.
Will we see those units in action at some point?
During the video?
Yeah.
I could probably set something up, yeah.
Oh.
But that is the
That's nice.
Yeah. That's the still unnamed Torpedo Bomber. It's basically got like the same kind of torpedoes that we've seen and everything else, except I think this one might have a prediction guidance. I wanted them to try to aim for the center of the ship. That seems to be working with the the prediction guidance a little bit better, so that's why I went with it. So now I guess we'll move on to what's going to be the boss ship for the faction. And this is the Armored Saint Dreadnought. One thing that I've been noticing a lot from the Austria-Hungary units that I've been researching is they seem to borrow very, very heavily from Germany. Would I be correct in saying that? If not outright just using stuff from Germany, like the U-boats. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it.
Well, they had a lot of close diplomatic relations.
That is true. They were allies
Back
during
in the
World War
day.
One, if I remember my history correctly. This guy's using 3-meter autoloaders. And it's using these shells right here. Or do I... Sometimes I put the shell customizers into the turrets themselves, but yeah, it looks like it's using these APHE rounds for the mains, and they're probably being shot out of the casemate weapons as well. It just kind of makes it easier. Doesn't need to be anything too great because this is still like a very early faction. I don't want it to get like too crazy. We got the 3.7-inch guns for the AAA, as Yurirogaria was talking about earlier. We have some 20mm cannons. And we got these torpedo launchers down here. These torpedoes are just a little bit longer than the rest of the torpedoes that we've seen in this faction so far, just to give them a bit more oomph. Any questions on this one, gentlemen?
Not really.
Nope.
Okay. And Heitzmeister, you were asking for a demonstration, correct?
Yes, a short little demonstration.
Anything in particular catching your eye you'd like to see fight?
To be honest, I'd actually like to see the gyrocopter fight.
Okay. We'll just do...
And,
Go ahead.
yeah, and the torpedo bomber.
The gyrocopter and the torpedo bomber? Okay. We can go ahead and just do a quick destroy all vehicles. I'll bring in the gyrocopter here. Actually, before I do that, there's something I wanted to show off really quick. Just a bit of a teaser for the next one of these videos that I decided to do. This is a battle cruiser that I made for the American-based faction, based off of gosh, now I can't remember the name of the damn thing. It's the battle cruiser that they went and turned into an aircraft carrier. I can't remember the name of it though, but had like 4 16-inch guns facing fore and aft. Yeah, now I'm going to have to look that up because I can't remember it for the life of me. But yeah, I've actually been very happy with it. Armor's a little on the thin side, but it kind of has to be since it's a battle cruiser. And I also got the Super Dreadnought here for the Republic of Free States, the American faction. Just thought you guys might want to have a quick look at those. We'll be covering these a little bit more in depth in the next update video though. Anyway, let's go ahead and delete all once again, and we wanted to see the Autogyro and the Torpedo Bomber. And if anyone else has any requests after this, I'll be more than happy to indulge them, so just let me know. What would you like to see him try to fight? Just
The Autogyro may be something light from the Deepwater Guard.
Marauder then?
A ship. Yeah, Marauder. A perfect target.
Well, the Torpedo Bomber seems to want to work. And boom. Not quite sure what's going on with the Autogyro here.
Is the AI actually turned on?
Oh, right, I had this thing set up to do like strafing runs. I thought I had it set up for a front sighter. There we go. So I
Unguided rockets.
Yes. And it still works just fine because they have magnets.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's some kind of a failsafe then.
More or less.
In case they miss.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I thought I had that thing set up for front sighter, yeah, but this will work just fine too. Any other units you'd like to see in action, guys? While we're doing a Marauder Slaughter?
I can't think of one.
How about something a little bit heavier? Like the Dreadnought that I had up earlier?
Yeah, sure.
I think it can handle
go for it.
crossbones. If I can remember where I saved the damn thing too. Alright, let's get us a crossbones out there. Already lost the turret, how about that?
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
I can see now. That's a big hole in the deck.
That's a cram for you.
Oh yes, they do make big holes.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should have got something a little smaller. No, I don't think it's AI dead. The AI is sitting in this. Well, maybe it is. Remember, this is an early campaign faction ship, so don't expect to do any miracles. I guess it was another ship that I was thinking of that could handle the crossbones there, but that's okay. Gesundheit.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see.
So I assume there are no active defenses in the form of shields, lamps.
Nope, no
That
active
doesn't sound
defenses or space voodoo whatsoever.
Okay.
Also, something that I am wanting to do in this campaign is have a bit of a tech progression where you unlock larger size autoloaders for the cannons as you progress. I want it to work a bit more like a traditional RPS, where you unlock better weapons as you progress through the campaign. So it'll probably be fairly late campaign till you get access to things like 8-meter autoloaders. Probably get access to 6s probably about early to halfway through.
Okay. Oh, so like a kind of tech progression.
Exactly. I'll probably write something into the scripting where you find plans in some lab that unlocks it or something like that.
A shame we don't have a real tech tree. That would be quite fun actually in FTD.
Yeah, but everyone wants to be able to build everything from the start, so...
Yeah, I know, but sometimes it's the limitations that make things more interesting.
Yeah, I always say the best form of creativity is a very limited one.
I can agree to that to an extent. That's just something that you always see in traditional RTS games is your tech level just kind of progresses along with the story. And that's, I mean, Command and Conquer did it, StarCraft did it, pretty much like every RTS out there does it. So, you guys want to see anything else, or are we all good for wrapping up here?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I
At
think it's
least
good as well.
I don't have anything else.
Ion, you all good?
I'm all good.
Okay.
Just responding to Tanya saying that it's Chaos that are called as the usual gang in here.
Well, better the usual than unusual, I suppose.
But
Yeah.
I think you showed off the vehicles I wanted to see, and you touched on all the units you wanted to show. So yeah, I think that's all you were setting out to do with this video, isn't it?
Yeah, just to give people a quick update on the progress of things. I might try doing another one with the Republic of Free States somewhere down the line, depending on where we're at on that. But the Kingdom of Windsor and Yurirogaria were practically complete, so that's why I decided to do videos for those two thus far. So anyway, unless anyone has anything else that they'd like to ask or add, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So I'd like to thank you all for watching. This has been Damadaki 2 with Lokari. I am Mike 3 and Heitzmeister. Y'all have yourselves a hell of a day and keep your hammer high. Later.